Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising Trilogy, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again. Each book is a compilation of features about cruisers and cruise and travel personalities from around the world. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul. And this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast, I am delighted to welcome Tom and Dom, a couple from UK and creators of the Tom and Dom travel blog, YouTube channel, Instagram platform, and Facebook group. Tom and Dom have only been cruising since right after the pandemic, sailing MSC Virtuoso on a short cruise to nowhere, referred to in UK as a staycation. As UK phased in cruises right after the lockdown, only 3 years and many cruises later, Tom and Dom are now sailing exotic itineraries to Greenland. Also in that short time, they have appeared in BBC Radio Wales, BBC News, The Times, The Sun, Daily Mirror, Out Traveler, and Business Insider. They are a clear Choose Cruise member. I consider cruise bloggers, vloggers, and content creators as cruise community champions and have featured them throughout the Joy of Cruising Trilogy and on the Joy of Cruising podcast. Passionate cruisers like Tom and Dom epitomize the joy of cruising. They are so passionate about cruising that they want to share it with the world. Cruise bloggers, vloggers, and content creators champion the cause of cruising, and at the same time, they are champions to cruise fans by providing them with free, useful information, reviews, videos, photos, and cruise tips to cruisers planning a voyage and prospective cruisers considering their first cruise. I have interacted with Tom and Dom occasionally on cruise social media, and it is now my pleasure to chat with them and to share their story with the listeners of the Joy of Cruising podcast. Welcome, Tom and Dom, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Hello, Paul. Thank you very much for having us.
Very excited to be here.
So how you guys doing?
Yes, very well, very well. Actually, you've caught us now. We've just come back from our normal day job, so we've just back from work. But yeah, really well. Other than that, it's the weather's not great in here in Wales today, where we live. But we'll put that to one side and having a great time.
Yeah, really looking forward to discussing our cruises with you. We've been really looking forward to this, actually.
Well, I'm far away from you, but the weather's not so good in North Carolina today either. So before we talk about Tom and Dom travel, tell our listeners about yourselves in general, where you're from, where you live, professional background, anything you would like to share.
Okay, so at the moment, we both live in West Wales in the UK. And I work for an organisation that is one of the King's now, I was going to say Prince's, King's or charities, similar to the Prince's Trust that operates across the whole of Wales, where I support people starting businesses and getting into employment. So that's my day-to-day job when I'm not out on the ocean cruising.
And I am a full-time teacher for my sins. I teach a range of ages from 11 up until 18 years of age.
When and what motivated you to create Tom and Dom Travel?
Do you know, honestly, Paul, we thought it was going to be easy to do a Tom and Dom Travel. We thought we'd put a few pictures on there, do a few videos, and
job done.
And job done. Well, it's turned out to be much bigger than we ever thought it was going to be. Originally, it was just us sharing our own experiences with a few friends and family, and it's just got bigger and bigger ever since.
So we initially just started taking a few photos, a few little reels, and just posting them on Instagram, and it sort of escalated, and we started realizing that we put more and more online. And it pretty much grew from there, really, where we started to branch off into other social medias and platforms to where we are today.
Yeah. People were actually interested in what we had today, which was quite nice. The countryside of Wales, our local towns. We live in a really beautiful part of the country where there's beautiful beaches in the summer when the weather is not like it is today. It's great to get out there and spend some time outdoors.
Equally, we do spend a lot of time with our family because we think that's quite important. And it's also quite therapeutic most of the time.
Well, let's go back to the beginning, which for you guys is not that far back. Talk about your first cruise.
So yeah, you're right, Paul, that it's not that far back. And listening to previous podcasts of yours, that the question that a lot of British cruisers respond is that their first cruise back from the pandemic was on MSC Virtuosa. But that was actually just our very first cruise.
Back in June 2021.
Yeah, June 2021, our first cruise. And it was just really because it was hard to go anywhere else. Flights were quite restrictive. Travel was quite restrictive. And we thought, right, what can we do? And MSC Virtuoso was doing these cruises to nowhere, really, just going around in the English Channel. So we jumped on board and never looked back, shall we say.
No, it was a fantastic experience. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And, we just can't believe how far we've come in such a short period of time, because it was incredible, really, to go on that 4-night cruise, having never been on a cruise, because I was really apprehensive. I didn't want to go on it. I really, really didn't want to go on MSC Virtuosa. However, as soon as I got on there, I had the best time. And now I just absolutely love it.
It is indeed incredible. I mean, you went on your first cruise in 21, and now you are, global cruise personalities. So that's you should be very proud. Now, what motivated you to go on that first cruise?
Before COVID, we used to go away, land-based holidays quite often. We'd nip over to Europe, Spain, the Canaries, maybe 3-4 times a year, just to have a land-based holiday for a week or two. Obviously, after COVID and the restrictions started easing, flights to sort of destinations like Spain, as well as, the entry requirements into those countries prevented us from doing any of that. And we were so desperate to just get away, have a little break, have a vacation, that, I actually conceded and went, oh, go on then, we'll go on MSC, we'll do 4 nights, but I'm not going to promise you that I like it.
Yeah, it was my idea originally. I saw that the cruise going out of Southampton and thought, yeah, we should definitely do that. And Dom did take a bit of convincing, but we got there and we've never looked back.
Never, ever. I don't think we'd ever do a land-based, well, I wouldn't say ever do a land-based holiday, but it's always sort of second thought. Yeah. It's just, going out into the English Channel, going round a bit and then coming back into Southampton. So I was a bit apprehensive in terms of, what am I going to do? How am I going to keep myself entertained? So I really did have these huge reservations. When I got on Virtuosa, obviously, we're coming out of the pandemic. We've been isolating, keeping ourselves separate from everybody. And you just walk on into the Galleria and there's just people there. There's somebody handed, because it was the inaugural season, they had champagne on entry, which was lovely. And it was just an incredible, I suppose, first impression. And then as the cruise progressed, it was just like, why have I never done this before?
Yeah.
You're wined and dined, entertained. You can do what you want. You get to go on, other cruises, you can get to go on amazing sort of destinations and experience these wonderful places in the world. And it was just a complete eye-opener for something that I'd never, ever considered.
It was fantastic. Our first impressions, I don't think, could have been better. Well,
brand new ship.
When you walked on Virtuosa for the first time, what happened?
I had to sit down. I was just overwhelmed.
Dom had walked about 2 or 3 steps in, took that glass of champagne, and then had to sit down. He could not believe what he was seeing, really. You were just overwhelmed, weren't you?
You think of the size of the ship, and it was just, from the outside, you just don't really get that perspective. But as soon as you step on and, you're in that space and that area, it's completely mind-blowing what they can do with these ships now.
I've interviewed literally hundreds of people, and I probably the most used phrase in all of those interviews is, why haven't I done this before?
Absolutely. And we can agree with that.
100% wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So how soon did you cruise again?
About a month.
That was it,
That was
yeah.
it. We came off Virtuosa in the July. As soon as we got home, we started looking for other cruises. Sorry, we came off Virtuosa in June, and we started to look for other cruises, and we booked one for the July
Yeah.
for the summer vacation.
We wasted no time in getting back on another ship, definitely.
So what was that ship?
Morella Explorer, and again, because it was post-COVID, this one did a British Isles itinerary.
Yeah.
And we were so fortunate that year because the weather was glorious. It was 30 degrees Celsius heat all summer long. It was incredible. We were so lucky.
Yeah. So Morella, the British cruise line, we decided to go with that because they were doing these round the UK cruises. And it meant we could stop at UK ports, which obviously then the same restrictions applied wherever we were in any port then. So that worked out really well for us. And Morella very rarely do UK cruises. Although they're a British brand, they normally are fly cruises. Sky Princess was our first ever princess cruise, and then on to Enchanted Princess. Have we done any other?
Queen Mary 2.
Oh, Queen Mary 2.
Cunard.
Yeah, we've done that.
Costa.
We've done a Costa cruise. Yes, that was very interesting. We really enjoyed that, but for completely different reasons to any other cruise, really. It was such a party ship.
I suppose we've done quite a mixture of different cruise lines.
Yeah.
And we've got to say, we've enjoyed every single one.
Yeah.
They all offer something. They all offer the same, a cruise.
Yeah.
But the way in which they sort of present it and supply it is completely different. Yeah. Tom was talking about Costa. We had an absolutely incredible time on Costa. We couldn't fault a thing. The food was good. The entertainment was good. However, it was just very different for us because the way in which they schedule their day, a lot of the entertainment is sort of pushed back. So it's much later at night that it starts. Whereas American and British lines tend to be a little bit more traditional. You'll have a theatre show at 7:30 and then perhaps another one at 9:30. Whereas Costa was much later.
Yeah. So, but none of those compared to the itinerary we had when we did our Island Princess cruise to Iceland and Greenland. I think that has been our best cruise to date.
Take us through your Iceland Greenland cruise. That caught my attention for a couple of reasons. Not that many people, well, I should speak for myself, but I don't suppose American cruises anyway have been to Greenland. So I'd love to hear about that. Also hear about Iceland because I have a selfish interest in that because I'll be going to Iceland sometime in 25. I actually will be leaving from Southampton. So tell us all about it.
Well, we booked it for the exact reason you say, is that not many people get the chance to go to Greenland. So we jumped at the chance when we saw it because we thought, what an opportunity to explore somewhere that relatively few cruisers get to do. Well, relatively few people altogether get to do. And it was one of the best cruises we have ever done. Greenland is just a spectacular place. So it came after the Iceland part of our cruise. So we visited Iceland first and then we went to Greenland. So after Iceland, we did.
Now let me back you up.
Yeah.
Start with the ship.
Okay.
So start at the beginning.
So we cruised on Island Princess, and that was obviously a relatively older princess ship that has had a few modifications done to it. So we weren't particularly sure how we were going to find the ship because Princess itself had taken away the wraparound promenade that was on there, and they'd taken away one of the venues at the aft of the ship and replaced it with extra cabins. The feedback that we were seeing wasn't so positive about the ship. However, when we got on board, the onboard experience was absolutely fantastic. It must have been one of the most friendly crew and passenger mix that we've ever experienced on a ship. And I don't know whether that was because of where we were going or whether it was the ship itself, but it was just amazing, wasn't it?
I think with smaller ships, because we're talking about Princess in particular, we've only ever done the Royal class Sky and Enchanted, which much more modern and bigger, essentially. So going on Island Princess, it was much more sort of a classic feel to the cruise, which we thoroughly enjoyed. And because obviously the capacity, the number of passengers on board was relatively small in comparison to those previous Princess experiences, I think it did help that we formed some great friendships on that cruise from day one.
I mean, you guys have come a long way in 3 years. Do you get recognized on cruise ships?
First time that someone came up to us and wanted to have a photo with us, we were, are you sure you've got the right people?
I got to say, I'd never been more embarrassed in my entire life when they asked me for a photo.
Yeah.
Never. And
yeah, when we're off a ship and someone notices you and then comes up to you and recognizes you from the world of cruising, then you feel like, oh, I'm out my comfort zone here because I'm not expecting it. So that is the strangest thing, isn't it?
But as we've sort of progressed and got further and further and continued working on the channel, it's getting more and more, which is fantastic because it just gives people an opportunity to come and speak to us. And there's one thing we love, and that's chatting.
Listening to other people's cruise experiences. Yeah. We love it. I think just like you, Paul, we love hearing about other people's experiences and what they're up to on a cruise. Right. So one thing about Island Princess, it does miss some of the key things that other Princess ships have. So it doesn't have an international cafe. It doesn't have an Alfredo's as such, or a Gigi's pizza, depending on which ship you're on. So yeah, there's some key elements that are missing.
But there are sort of alternatives on board that we made full use of because, we loved International Cafe on the Royal class ships, and we loved the pizza on Princess as well.
And with that ship, we were lucky enough to be able to go and explore parts that are normally unseen. So we were lucky enough to see the galley and have a galley tour. And we were invited on the bridge as well. So
very nice.
It was a great experience. Yeah.
How was the food?
So if you've seen our channel, we do a lot about food because for us, cruise, when we go on a cruise, food is one of those important factors. The food on Princess, there are a couple of ups and downs, but overall, it's fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed pretty much everything that they put in front of us.
Yeah, good quality food.
Good quality food. And obviously, there are some things that aren't to our taste, but that's just our taste.
You say, if I've seen your channel, I don't know if you can see over my shoulder, but your channel is on right now.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the views.
You two and two women, I believe, I don't want to get this wrong. I can edit it out if I'm wrong. I believe it's Sisters on the Sea.
One of them's a teacher as well, so we happen to bump into them on cruises during the school holidays. And that's how it started.
We did a live YouTube chat with them on Sunday, didn't we, to review both of our cruises because we're away on sister ships for the same week a couple of weeks ago.
Are you guys specialty dining fans or not really?
We do like to give a speciality a try. We're not people who go every single night, but we do like to do one or two during the cruise.
Yeah, so, we do, because we thoroughly enjoy good food. We feel that the vast majority of specialty restaurants on board cruise ships are good value for money if you compare them to experiences on land. Yeah. And sometimes it gives you the opportunity to perhaps experience a different cuisine that perhaps you're not used to. So we do like to sort of experience different types of food and specialty restaurants. But would we be the type of couple that would go every single night? I don't think so, because obviously with your cruise fare, you've already paid for it.
You sound like me. I mean, there was once a time I would vow quite emphatically I'd never do a specialty dining restaurant because, food is included. Things have changed. And I'm like you. I don't go to specialty dining every night. Although I did on one cruise only because it had 22 restaurants. I booked an unlimited dining package where I could
Oh,
go,
wow.
but that was one time. But usually
Oh,
I
wow.
just try, a couple of
Yeah.
the restaurants over a 7 or 14-day cruise. Did you try any on island?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did both Sabatini's and Bayou Cafe. And yeah, really good. We've been to Sabatini's before. Bayou Cafe, we'd never experienced because we've
No.
always done the Crown Grill. However, unfortunately for us, they were just transferring over to the standard Crown Grill menu in the Bayou Cafe because, the menu on there when we embarked was quite exciting. It had
Yeah.
like gator steaks and little sort of exotic things that perhaps we would never even consider. So we're quite excited to sort of try that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, due to these changes with their Princess Plus and Premier package that they introduced and the dine-in options, they sort of changed the menu we were the first cruise, unfortunately. But I am a Princess Cruises pasta advocate. Really am. I think their pasta is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, even in the main dining rooms and the buffet up on the top deck.
You've had a good meal when you come out saying it's just too much food.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
take us through the
it's fantastic.
itinerary of the cruise.
Okay, so we set sail from Southampton and we did our first stop actually in Ireland. So we went to Cork Cove in Ireland, and that was fantastic. We'd been there several times on other ships, hadn't we? But it's a great place. And we took our own excursion. We did it by ourselves to Spike Island, which is a former prison island just off the coast of Cork. And that was a fantastic experience. It's you get a guided tour around parts of the island and who explains all the history and the what used to happen there when it was a prison.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. We'd spotted it on previous visits to Cove, and we thought, right, next time we come, we've got to go over there and do this tour. And it was incredible, really, really interesting. Something I never even thought was there, but the history of it was incredible.
Yeah. Then we had a number of sea days, 3 sea days, 2 sea days,
2 sea days to Iceland.
to Iceland, and then our first port of call in Iceland was Akureyri. I can't say it. That's why I paused. I was thinking, how do I say this?
Before you
Akureyri.
talk about, let me see if Akureyri or something like that. You had 3 sea days. What do you guys like to do on sea days, or 2 sea days? What do you guys like to do on sea days? You go to the gym. Some people say those who work out on a cruise have a screw loose.
I've got to agree with them. The only time we go in the gym is when we're filming a ship tour.
Yeah. Or if we can do a shortcut through there. Yeah. We're not gym goers very often, are we? So,
but we do love the activities on a sea day. And speaking of Island Princess in particular, the sea days just went so quick because we did have a fair few traveling between the UK, Iceland and Greenland, then back again. And the amount of entertainment and activities that were taking place was just phenomenal, really, because we didn't know where to go next. There was just so much going on. We're the type of people that we'd like to go and experience everything. So it's kind of like, where do we go next? What do we do? So our days tend to be really busy on a sea day.
Yeah, they'd put on activities, whether it was, I don't know, mini golf or activities in the atrium. They do things like the egg drop and things in the atrium, or things up on deck if the weather was good enough. They did pickleball. They did afternoon matinee shows in the theatre. The cast did like a Q&A session one day. So they had so many things going on.
Yeah, so that's great. So even though it was one of their smaller, older ships, you weren't bored at all. So talk about, and forgive me, Akureyri.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying it correct either, Paul. So yeah, Akureyri is right up there.
Akureyri. Okay.
It's right up there in the north of Iceland, and it's a great place to do whale watching or visit the thermal spa, which we chose to do. So it's our second time there. The first time we went, we spent the day whale watching,
which was incredible.
Incredible. You could see all sorts of whales within 10, 15 minutes of leaving the port on one of their boats, on a whale watching excursion. You're seeing whales. It's fantastic. And then this time on this cruise, we decided to go to a brand new attraction. So it was one of the hot thermal baths in Iceland called the Forest Lagoon. When we got there, it was particularly quiet because it's not very well known, very different to the thermal lagoons in the south near Reykjavik, such as the Blue Lagoon, the Secret Lagoon, the Sky Lagoon that they have down there. So if you're going up there to Reykjavik, to Akureyri, I'd definitely recommend the Forest Lagoon.
100%. And we were so lucky because we went in August, and the weather was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, we were just sat in that lagoon with the thermal waters. The sun was shining.
With a drink.
You could have been anywhere. It was beautiful.
Yeah. So, and then after Akureyri, we went to
Isafjorda,
which is one of the smaller industrial port towns. Now, I say industrial, but it's not particularly industrial.
It's very small.
But it is for Iceland. There's a lot of fish production and things going on there. And from there, we did a excursion to visit Giangi Waterfall, which is a superb, absolutely spectacular waterfall.
Breathtaking.
And you can get right up close to it, and the size of it and the sound of it is amazing.
Now, you say there's a lot of fish production and what have you there. Did either there or anywhere in Iceland, did you eat any local delicacies?
So this is where we fall a bit short because neither of us eat fish.
Well, that's the end. That's the end of that.
What we did do, we tried a lot of the. We went to the cafes. We got a coffee and tried some of their local baked goods, and they were fantastic.
And in pretty much every sort of every restaurant or cafe and bar, they do like these little fish tasters with smoked all sorts of fish and some traditional Icelandic treats that you can get with a drink.
Yeah.
Which looked really interesting, but it was just not something that we tried.
My daughter, and I'm a little jealous. My daughter has been to Iceland. She's not a big cruiser, so she went to Iceland on a land trip, and
yes,
hopefully she's not listening. She brought me back some. They were like freeze-dried fish things.
You enjoy them?
That's why I said I hope. That's why I said I hope she's not listening. And I love anything fish, seafood, shell, anything fish. But no, this didn't do it for me.
No. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to try there. And to be honest with you, Paul, there's some interesting things there as well. Obviously, being in Iceland, there's things like whale that you can try. There was minke whale on a menu in one of the restaurants we went to.
Smoked puffin,
yes. So if you fancy a bit of puffin, that is definitely an option. But not things that we chose to partake in.
Now, puffin that's a fish or a bird?
No, a bird.
Okay, I thought it was. All right.
It's a bird with coloured beaks. They've got different coloured beaks. Yeah.
There's usually a little stop where they'll provide you with some Icelandic refreshments included in the fare as well.
Yeah.
And you get to go around all of the key attractions in and around the Golden Circle.
Yeah, so you get to experience.
So when you say in and around the Golden Circle, what is the Golden Circle?
So the Golden Circle, I think, it's a driving route that that tourists take to visit some of the main geological attractions in Iceland. So the first one that we visited were the national park where the two tectonic plates are separating. So I think it's the Eurasian and the North American plate are separating, and you can walk down the middle of these tectonic plates. The second place we went to was the geyser, where the hot water shoots up out of the ground. It is spectacular.
Yeah, the landscape and just the landscape of Iceland is incredible. It's something we'd never experienced before. And on this Golden Circle tour that you can do, you can do it through the cruise line, or you can do it independently like we did. It just takes you from one area of something completely different to another, and the variations in the landscape were incredible, just for a couple of miles.
I have this vision of Reykjavik as a big city. Is it have a big skyline, or is it not very urban?
It does have a few taller buildings, but it's certainly not a big city. I'd say it's a very walkable city.
Okay.
It's easy to get around, I would say.
You went up to the church.
Yes, of course, they've got that iconic church right in the centre of town. That is just spectacular, and you can go in there. It's a really modern church. It's worth a visit, and you can go up the tower of the church itself as well. And that is kind of your point in the city where you navigate everywhere from. If you can see the church, because like we said, the Golden Circle tour was so long, it took the whole day. We didn't get a chance to see the city at all the first time, so we wanted to actually get and explore the city. And see what life in the city in Iceland was about.
But I definitely do it that way again.
Yeah.
I do the Golden Circle tour because it's just incredible, and it's something that will stay with you. And then if you do get the opportunity to go to Reykjavik again, obviously, take the time to go and explore the city, because it is beautiful. And as Tom said, it's incredibly walkable.
Yeah.
And it's just really good experience.
Main event then. So we had 2 more sea days as we crossed from Iceland over to Greenland. And the first thing we came across on that first morning when we could see Greenland in the distance was a huge iceberg. When we woke up that morning and that first iceberg that we saw, we were so excited. So yeah, you could definitely feel the landscape had changed. And seeing that iceberg was
incredible,
something else.
Yeah, something we'd never experienced it before. So, we were really sort of amazed that we'd gotten that far, I suppose.
Yeah. And at that point, then we had an announcement from the captain to say that we were able to take the ship through the Prince Christian Sound. And the Prince Christian Sound is a waterway that separates Greenland, and it runs all the way through southern Greenland. But due to the nature of the icebergs and the amount of ice in the area, it's really hit and miss whether a ship can go through there or not. So it didn't actually appear on our itinerary for the cruise, and we didn't think we were going. So it wasn't until that morning when we were told we would be sailing through Prince Christian Sound that we knew anything about it. And when we got there, it was spectacular.
It was just like something we'd never experienced or seen before. Really didn't know where to look. It was beautiful.
Wow, an unexpected treat.
Absolutely.
And because the sound is so narrow in places, obviously the captain said that, ships any bigger than Island Princess just wouldn't be able to navigate it safely. And as you're sailing through, you've got these massive, steep mountains on either side, and you really did feel as if you could put your hand out and just touch either side. It was incredible.
Yeah, really great. And of course, then accompanying you all the way around is ice, and we passed 6 glaciers on the way through the Sound. So it was just one after the other. So it was something we weren't ready for, really. It was spectacular. We spent the whole day out on deck just watching what was going on.
And it was really nice because Princess had put on one of their destination experts, and they were just narrating the entire route through the Sound, which was incredible. Yeah, just giving us information, hints, and just talking about the way of life, because we passed one of the remotest villages in Greenland, with only a handful of residents, and the captain did like a little pirouette so everybody could see. And I was just stood there thinking, oh God, I wonder what all those people over there are looking at us spinning round, thinking, what on earth are they?
So that day, the next day, we visited our first port, which was Quakotok. Now, I hope I'm saying that right, because when we arrived in Quakotok, we actually met quite a lot of the local residents. They were extremely friendly, and they did attempt to teach us how to say the name of the town, which is Quakotok, I think. And it was just one of the most unusual places we have ever been, Paul, for the reason being that it seems untouched by tourism so far. It doesn't have any of the shops, any of the usual bars or anything like that. Nothing. It's
nothing familiar to us. It was just completely different and unique. And most of the towns and villages and settlements in Greenland are not connected by any roads. So essentially, if you're in town, the only way out is
by boat or helicopter.
So it's very insular. And then obviously when you get thousands of passengers just turning up from a cruise ship, the locals are just so pleased to see you. It was really quite surreal.
Really, really interesting. And
unfortunately, that was one of because it is so remote, in terms of excursions, for us, there were very few that you could pre-book before the cruise. I think there were two for Quakotok and Nanortalik, that you could book directly through Princess. So for us, it was a case of, well, we've never been to Greenland before. Let's just get ashore, have a wander around and just explore.
Well, the only two options were either an iceberg tour or a walking tour of Quakotok itself. Well, when you saw Quakotok, you knew that it was so small that you could do your own walking tour, really. There wasn't anywhere that you'd get. But what there was there in Quakotok was, and it's certainly not to everyone's taste, there was a sealskin factory there where you could buy all sealskin items, whether that's a coat, boots, a key ring. And the people in the factory did actually tell us that it used to be that the locals there would go out in the winter when the ice was frozen over and just subsistently collect the seals for their own use. But in the last few winters, unfortunately, there hasn't been any ice at all thick enough to do that. So I think that is real shame that they just haven't had a dense enough ice to even be able to go out on the ice and do their traditional hunting, really.
And the sealskin factory, it does have a little bit of history behind it in terms of, we didn't purchase anything. I don't think a lot of other people did, but for them to survive and live in such a remote part of the world, the things that they had to do to survive, unfortunately.
A lot of that was so then from Quakotok itself, we went to our second port in Greenland, which was Nanortalik.
And this was even smaller than Quakotok. It was incredible. It was like really, really small. In terms of the tender port, they had one tender port that could fit just one tender boat at a time. And, pretty much most of the roads were just dirt paths. It was incredibly remote and very different to Quakotok.
Well, that is probably important. We haven't said that actually, that most ports on this cruise, apart from Reykjavik, are tender. Oh, sorry, Ireland was we could go up to the berth as well, but all the ones in Greenland are tender ports. And they don't have the capacity for any more than one tender boat at a time. So it's definitely much slower coming back and forward to the ship than you would expect at other ports where perhaps everyone gets off of the ship at the same time.
Nanortalik, there was more locals out and about, children, just everybody was just so pleased to see us. And they were pretty much selling whatever they could it was just a complete change, complete different way of life. It was really eye-opening.
Now, there is an open air museum there in Nanortalik that does give you a bit of history of some of the locals, how they migrated from across North America, Canada, down into Greenland, and how their way of life has changed. So there is that attraction there if you did want to go. But for us, we chose to do the iceberg excursion on this one.
And we directly with Princess, and we were very lucky because it was fully sold out.
Fully sold out way before our cruise. So what happens here is you take a rib boat at speed across to the icebergs, and just thinking about it now, my mind is blown that you get up so close, the colours, the blues, the whites, the turquoise of the iceberg and of the water is something I'll never forget. It was immense. It was absolutely spectacular. And we did that for just over an hour, I think. Our guide took us around the icebergs. He explained to us how they got to that area of Greenland. And it was just spectacular, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was money well spent because those excursions weren't cheap. However, I thoroughly recommend it if anybody would like to do it because it was an incredible experience. The one thing we did find out while we were in Greenland that we didn't really know beforehand was the fact that many of the locals in both Qaqortoq and Nanortalik actually did independent excursions, and you can't access them via the internet. You have to be there on the day in person.
Yeah.
So obviously before our cruise, especially on Island Princess, a lot of people were panicking because these ports are small.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to go off and do something, it did sort of cause a lot of stress to some people. But if you are going, I think if we go again, we'd most probably definitely book one with one of the local tourists because they were much cheaper, and the fact that they take multiple currencies as well was fantastic.
Yes, they do.
But before you head back, in Greenland, so the stops kind of remote, villages, small villages. Perhaps I should know this, but I skipped class that day. Does Greenland have any cities and major attractions besides small villages?
Greenland has one city, which is the capital, which is Nuuk, which is a little bit further north than the two ports that we went to. And occasionally cruises do go there, but it really depends on the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're talking about cities, it is the capital of Greenland.
So 4 sea days back.
Yeah, which just flew by. Now, Greenland was 3 hours behind the UK time.
Yeah.
I always get confused with this. So I think that was the only thing we did struggle with, was clawing back those hours, one after the other after the other. However, it was incredible 4 days. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, there was just so much going on.
Yeah. One of the ways that they filled those 4 days, Paul, was that they got the ice pilots who were required to be on the bridge at all time. Well, one is required to be on the bridge at all time while you're sailing in water with ice. The ice pilots came and gave some talks to the passengers, talking about their experiences and what it's like to be an ice pilot. So that was very interesting, really. Your mind can't process it that quick because there's so much going on. And it's a different place. So if you're going there wanting a new cultural experience, you're going to love it. If you're going there wanting, I don't know, the shopping experience of traditional port cities, it's not going to be for you.
Let's talk a little bit about the future. Some great ships coming out or have come out already in 24 and in 25. Any that you are very anxious to try?
We would really like to try the new Queen Anne, the new Cunard ship. I think that looks very interesting. We're eager to see how Cunard have moved on their product from Queen Mary Queen Mary 2 that we have already been on, and how they're going to keep that Cunard element but modernise it. And from the photos we've seen and the renderings, it already looks very exciting. So we would like to do that. And then, of course, like we said, we love Princess, so we would love to give Sun Princess a go.
Yeah, really interesting to experience Sun Princess, and because Princess for us offers a little bit more of a relaxed pace. There are no go-karts or water slides or things like that, whereas Sun Princess is going to have a lot of these additional features because it's focused and towards a family market. So it'd be really interesting just to experience, how different it is, yet is it
Yeah,
going to be
I am booked on Sun Princess, but unfortunately, it's not until April of 25. So if anybody wants to send me on a media trip, I'm very flexible. I'm retired and can go at the drop of a dime. You've been on Cunard already. Talk about that. That's a bucket list trip for me. That's not particularly interested because I don't like formality, and I hear that it's very formal.
Yes.
But there's a part of me that wants to do Cunard because it's such a what's the right word? Legendary name.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think if you go on the Cunard, particularly Queen Mary 2, if you go on that ship, you're going on it for the whole experience, and the formality comes with that experience. So it might not be your regular cruising style, but I think if you want to try the Cunard experience, I would say try and embrace it.
We do. Because we don't really dress up at home, and every time there's a formal night, we tend to sort of fully immerse ourselves in it because we quite enjoy, the pomp and the ceremony, I suppose, of putting on a tuxedo and a little black tie.
And no, there's afternoon tea like Cunard in the Queen's room.
It's an incredible experience. Incredible.
Yeah.
So many cakes, treats, sandwiches.
I haven't worn my tux on a cruise since before the pandemic. I'm afraid to try it on.
Yeah.
Well,
since I've started cruising, I've had to buy 3.
That's a warning, I guess.
Yeah, so like we said, our next I was going to say cruise, but river cruise is with Riviera, and that is going out of Paris.
Yeah, we're going to sail down the Seine.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that because that's going to be a completely new experience for us, as it is for you, and we'll see what a river cruise brings. From what we've heard, I think we're going to enjoy it because it's going to bring us a little bit slower pace, but more immersive in the destinations. So looking forward to that. And then after that, I think we're going to try and get on a Virgin.
Yeah, definitely something unique in sort of the cruise world. And everybody that's come off has said they've had an amazing time. I haven't heard much or any negative.
Yeah, they probably exist, but I've read dozens and dozens of reviews and watched videos, and I just have not come across a negative review of Virgin. Never. So you have the river cruise booked, and you're thinking about Queen Anne and Virgin. Yeah. What's on your cruise and travel bucket list?
I think that's the great thing about cruising. There are so many cruises. So unfortunately, my bucket list is about 100 entries. My main...
Dom, it sounds like mine.
I really want to do Singapore to Australia. That's what I want to do.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I think, again, in terms of Singapore and Southeast Asia, a complete different world culturally, and something completely unexpected to experience is what I'd be looking for.
For me, I've got 2. I'd like to go to French Polynesia. Really like to do that. It looks absolutely idyllic there. So that is on the list. And then completely different, I'd like to do a river cruise on the Nile. I quite like Egyptian history and all the things that come with that. So I think a river cruise on the Nile would...
Mine, all of those that both of you mentioned are on my bucket list. my ever-changing bucket list, and it's very dynamic because I'm always talking to people like you, and I get great ideas. So my bucket list, it's ever growing, and I know I'm not getting any younger. So I'm trying to check off some things in the next couple of years. That's part of the reason why I got my first river cruise coming up. That's part of the reason why Virgin Voyages is two bucket list items. One, just checking off Virgin Voyages, and then the other is doing my first transatlantic. So how can listeners follow Tom and Dom Travel on social media and the internet?
So first of all, you can find us on @Tom and Dom Travel on Instagram, Facebook, X, and on YouTube, of course. So YouTube's our main platform that we use the most. But if you wanted to see what we're doing day to day, we update Instagram and Twitter every day, really, with something on there.
Before we let you go, a couple of fun or light, I'll say, cruise questions, and then perhaps an oddball question that's not necessarily cruising related. So the first one's an easy one. I always ask this to get ideas, and I've gotten some great ones. What's your favorite cruise drink? Each of you, what's your favorite cruise drink and cruise food?
So my favorite cruise drink is got to be, again, with Princess. As much as I love them on other lines, I think in good spirits on Princess, the cocktail mixing speciality is the gin and tonic Ultima. So it's just a gin and tonic, but the way they make it, it's just beautiful. And every time I go on a Princess ship, I'm looking forward to one of them. Obviously,
Now I drink gin and tonics. What makes it ultimate? What you say, ultimate or Ultima?
Ultima. So it's a gin and tonic Ultima. I think it derives from Spain, and they put in, I suppose they lace the glass with lemon and lime. And they also put in what are those? Juniper berries, dried juniper berries into the drink itself. Beautiful Hendrick's gin, some good quality tonic water, and it just adds to the experience. It's beautiful, really, really nice gin. In terms of my favorite food, there are so many to mention. I thoroughly, it's one of the highlights of any cruise for me is the food and just being able to experience the different treats and that. I've got to say, it was on one of our recent cruises on P&O Aurora, which is another British brand. We sailed over New Year's.
Yeah.
And we tried one of their onboard specialities, and I had the filet mignon on a salt rock, so you could cook it yourself. And it was superb. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. And again, there was so much food on there. You definitely did walk away thinking that was too much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do enjoy a good steak, though.
Yeah. I think if people have watched our blogs, Paul, they'd probably say that we like fries with cheese on and things like that late at night, which we do have quite often after a few of those gin and tonic ultimates. But yeah, just a little late night snack.
Now, Tom, is that your drink too, that gin and tonic Ultima?
No, do you know what? Always in my mind is the first drink I had on that first MSC Virtuosa cruise, which was a Cosmopolitan. It was the first sail away drink I ever had. And it's not that it's particularly an amazing cocktail, the one I had at the time, but it's just one that sticks in my mind that every time I go on a ship and have a sail away, I order a Cosmopolitan because it takes me back to that first ever cruise. And the experience of that. So yeah, that's what I would go for. And then food, I love an Indian restaurant and some Indian food. And we did an ambassador cruise, which is again a British brand. They've only have 2 ships and they're relatively new. And they have an Indian restaurant called Saffron. And they did like a tasting platter of all different Indian foods, and that was exceptional, really, really good food. So I would go Indian food every time.
Okay, the next question, and so you can respond collectively or individually. What's your most memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
I think the most embarrassing moment for me was when we were doing a Canaries cruise on P&O Azura last year.
Yeah.
And it was disembarkation day. We were just grabbing a little bit of breakfast from the buffet, and we were sat out to the aft of the ship. And all of a sudden, was it Aida? One of the German Aida ships came sailing past, and Tom goes, "Quick, get a bit of content." So I pick up my phone and I walk down these steps to go to the very aft of the ship, and my legs just go and I slide all the way down the stairs. And it was a little bit painful, but not as much as it hurt my ego, because I was so embarrassed. It was awful, awful, and I still think about that now.
Well, there's a social media saying, photos or it didn't happen.
I think it got up that quick, or there was no chance for photos. But quite a few people were looking on, so there might be a photo out there somewhere.
All right. How about you, Tom?
Well, I don't know if I have anything as embarrassing as that, but I think going back to our Greenland cruise, and we've spoken about it already, the most memorable moment I've got on any cruise has to be that first time that we looked out of the ship and saw an iceberg. I think that to me will always be in my mind as something. It's just spectacular, and the size and the shape and the color, like I've said, is burnt into my memory. So I think that is something that is just so memorable for me.
Now, that's something I hope you have a photo of.
Yes, definitely. Plenty of iceberg photos. Yeah, we have got a picture. Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll when we promote your episode, we'd like to see that. So
Fantastic. Thank you.
Finally, you guys have quite a following, having done this for just 3 years or so. So let me say welcome to the Tom and Dom travel fans and friends listening. We hope you have enjoyed what you have heard, and we'll come back to the Joy of Cruising podcast to check out some additional episodes. Tom and Dom, share one thing that my listeners and your fans and friends don't know about Tom and Dom.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I said to you, that I work for a charity that was set up by the King, then the Prince of Wales, that I have actually been invited to one of his private residences and met him in person, and had the opportunity to have quite a good chat with him. So on several occasions, shall I say. So it's quite familiar with the King. That's probably a good thing to say, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. How about you, Dom?
So one thing that our followers don't know about me, which is quite difficult, because I think we try to be as real as possible and just put ourselves across and our thoughts and our opinions. Everybody knows I don't like fish. Everybody knows I like a late night buffet. One thing about me.
Well, I know one. That you lived in Southampton.
Yes.
And never went on a cruise. So you lived a stone's throw away from the port for a few years and never once thought about going on a cruise. So that might be a good one.
That's absolutely true. Lived in Southampton multiple times and never ever considered a cruise, even though it was on my doorstep the whole time. Just think of my loyalty status now. It could have been through the roof.
Now, let me ask you, Dom. Living in Southampton, did you go to London a lot?
Yeah, every now and again. In terms of access, it's around about an hour's train journey from Southampton to London. You can get faster. The coach, I think, takes a little bit longer, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And yeah, so, as long as the traffic's good and there's no delays on the train, it's quite accessible.
Well, listen, Tom and Dom, it is so good to get to meet you virtually. Thank you for coming on the Joy of Cruising podcast. You are a leader in the vibrant UK cruise community, and will be sailing great cruises. So I would love to have you back sooner rather than later.
Thank you very much, Paul. We certainly would love to come back.
Thank you. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
All righty. Well, all the best to Tom and Dom Travel. And as they say, I'll see you on the ocean.
Thank you.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again for $18.99, can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.